What's up? Pokerbrandon here, and in this session playing 5-5 300 to 600 buy-in on a Monday around 5 p.m. I have King Jack offsuit on the button, and Low Jack will open this up to $15. So before this hand, Low Jack had lost maybe 20 minutes ago. He lost a $500 all-in. He called a $400. He shoved $400 on a flop against two people. I think he had a big pocket pair, but the guy that beat him had flop trips and took all his money. But before that, he was the tightest player at the table. So his VPIP, even up until this point, was about 2.5%. He was not opening anything pre-flop. He was just limping if he wanted to see a flop, and he was not limp raising. So when he opens to 15, even though it's a small size, and normally I'm on the button here with King Jack off, I would 3-bet this. I think I'm giving him a range of like ace queen off. So because of that, I don't think I want to 3-bet him. So I just want to call, and I think I'll play my position, and I'll play a board exactly like this. Big blind, he was just calling everything pre-flop, so I'm not too worried about anything he has. This is going to check over to me, and I think that just putting out a small bet of 15 here, same as pre-flop bet, I think that's just always going to get like ace highs to fold from the tight player who he was not gambling, he was not bluffing, he was not playing anything other than what seemed to be a good hand. So I bet 15, hoping to just win this. Big blind called and Low Jack called, and I guess we're going 3 ways to a turn. So turn, I hit a king, and big blind checks. Like I said, big blind could have anything from like 10-2 suited to like 8 queen offsuit. But he checks it to Low Jack, and Low Jack bets 60. When he bets 60 here, it feels like he has a hand like ace king off or king queen suited. I guess those hands would call the flop bet because the flop bet was really tiny. But I'm trying to figure out how often will he bet so big on the turn here, holding a big hand like ace king or king queen. And then on top of that, while I have a king in my hand, the stars just seem like they have to align too much here. What is he trying to get called by if he's betting 60? If anything, he's just blocking a flush draw from seeing the river. So I start to wonder if maybe because he's a little bit tilted because of the previous hand he lost, I'm trying to see if maybe he's just a little bit tilted and he picked up a flush draw with the hand like ace queen of hearts, and now he's just trying to rep the king. So I'm trying to figure out if he has it in him to rep a king on the turn, because I'm not really supposed to have any kings when I bet the flop and I just call the pre-flop bet. It doesn't really seem like I have any kings in my range. Like if anything, I have a 9, I have an 8. So because I think my paired king is disguised, I call, and I really feel like he may have it in him to bluff that king. The river comes, we go 1v1 to a river because the big blind folded. And within 5 seconds of seeing this river, the Low Jack just takes 2 stacks of red chips and just slides them out there pretty fast. And then he puts his head down with his headphones and just stares at his phone at the table. He doesn't even look up at the hand anymore. Now I just got to figure out if this is weakness and he's bluffing, or if this is a monster. I got to say, earlier in the hand, when he did push out $400 into a into about a $250 pot pre-flop 3 ways, he was staring at the board. He was staring at the board. He was holding his cards, and all his attention was at the table. Now in this hand, he's shoving out 200, and all his attention is off the table. So there's a difference there, and I really just got to figure out, is this ace king offsuit, or is he bluffing? And it's starting to feel like it's a bluff the more I tank. I tanked for about 2 minutes here. I'm trying to figure out what hand does he put me on. Logically, I think he has to put me on hands like 9x, maybe 9x of spades, maybe like a missed flush draw, like 10 jack of spades. So if I just have missed flush draws here and small pairs, and he has ace king, why on earth would he bet so big? Like, wouldn't you want the call? I don't think he at all has seen me. I did not hero call anything at this session, and I was playing with him for about 3 hours up until this point, and I was really tight. Like, my VPIP here was barely going up to 10%. So I think my range should be super weak here by the time I get to the river. And then for him to just come out and bet big like this, unless he just like woke up with like a set of 9s and he slow played the flop and now he's just fast playing the turn and river, I think he's bluffing. And the more I think about it, the more I just don't think it makes sense for him to bet 200 here into a $215 pot with ace king or aces or a set of 9s even, because my hand doesn't seem like it should be that strong. So because I feel like if he had a good hand, he would bet a little bit smaller to get money out of me, I think he's bluffing. And I think he's bluffing with like a missed draw. Maybe he has the missed draw, missed spades or missed hearts, and he was repping the king. So I go with my read here, and even though he's the aggressor pre-flop and he does have more kings, I think that my king is good. And I think he has a hand like ace queen of spades or ace queen of hearts after thinking about this and after watching him, because he just never picked up his head. Even when I finally threw the chip in to call, which I do, he doesn't even pick up his head. The dealer has to tell him like, hello, he called, hello. And then he shows ace 10 of hearts. So I gotta say, I gotta pat myself on the back. I think I nailed it. I nailed the read. And when I made the call, my opponent just shook his head and didn't want to show his hand. But he flipped it over and like disgust, knowing he was beat. I show the king, and I think he was just surprised to see that I had a king. I think I'm supposed to have more 9x here, maybe just a single 8x. And I think he's a pretty good player. Very sneaky good player though, because he didn't play anything all day, and it was really hard to give him the skill set that could come up with the bluff, rep the king, and come up with the bluff. So I say, even though I beat this guy, I think I gotta give it to him. That was a good play on his part. But so yeah, I mean, I think it was a good move on his part. I think he will get a lot of 9s to fold, a lot of 8s to fold. Shoot, if I think about it, if I did have like 9x here, it would be tough. It would be tough, but I can't really say what I would do because I got to be in the moment and I got to look at you, because I feel like a lot of people, they give away lots of information. This guy was not wearing sunglasses. I saw his whole face, and there were some major differences between his bet here and his big bet earlier 2 orbits ago. So one hand was strong and one hand was weak in my eyes, and I think that also played a big part into making a call here. I know a lot of you might be like, you have a pair of kings here, what are you even doing thinking about this? Just snap call and move on. But I don't know, I don't play that way. I try to save my money whenever I can. I don't want to pay people off. Antonio Esfandiari once said, you don't want to be the payoff wizard at the table, just paying everybody for every hand they make. He said that on Poker After Dark, like probably 15 years ago, 10 years ago. Never forgot that. But yeah, I just don't like paying people off. And I like thinking my hands through when I'm in a decision, because I think it makes me better, and I hope this video makes you better just listening to it. and just getting an idea on how I think and how other players might think. I think the key factor here that also helped me make this call was my range was supposed to be pretty weak, so my opponent was betting really big. That just usually means he's trying to fold out a weak hand. If he maybe sized down a bit, I think his bet would be more believable. But it just so happened that I actually had the king that he was trying to rep. So in a way, he just sort of had some bad luck, but his play was pretty good. I like his play a lot. I probably can be on the other side of this, and I could probably make his play there. I think I would size down a bit, though, if I was on his side of it. But yeah, so I really like the outcome of this hand and the logic that came with it while I was in the hand and I made the call. And I'm Pokerbrandon. I am out.